Tonight, in my new residence, the other one got burnt and condemned, we have a number of guests here of interesting walks of life. And instead of introducing them myself, I'm going to have each one of them introduce themselves. Okay? And why don't we start over here?
I'm Michael Taylor.
I'm Sudan Daramus Petaway, and
I'm Genghis Khan. I conquered half the world once and now I'm dead.
Tom Gabbard. I'm underground publisher, and this is Sudan's life.
I'm Renee Fry. I live with Sudan. It's always his life. I'm just Jody. I have no life.
And the first thing that I'd like to discuss with our, let's call it a panel. That sounds real professional. With our panel is the hearings that have been going on in the Senate. They finally stopped the proceedings last night. I was watching it.
No, I think the media brought him dirt to try to find some sort of controversy in his appointment to the highest jury in the land. But
I think it was media.
They searched his background. They searched his employees. I'm sure they called every employee that he ever had and searched his records. And then finally we found this person and said, well, yeah, actually he did make some rude remarks to me. And then they drew on that and they're like, well, what kind of rude remarks did he make to you? And they're like, well, were they sexist remarks? And do you think that was sexual discrimination and harassment? And after a while, she called like, yeah. And she realized that there were supporters out there, and she had supporters before. And yeah, she made some mistakes, and her position's blowing out of hand. And okay, Thomas maybe did have some sort of bad, or not bad, but maybe he did have some motivation to ask her, like, well, do you want to go out? And maybe she took it the wrong way.
Is this your pubic hair, my coke?
Yeah.
I guess they couldn't dig up a roommate that ever saw him smoke pot in college, so they could dig up something else.
Well, you admitted of that, though, and they said, well, innocent, youthful indiscretion. How do I put this? They both argue against each other, and I think that both of them, their points are being, whatever, they're being very melodramatic about each of their situations. And, well, she has been exploited and he's been exploited, and Thomas would never deny, well, Thomas has to deny it in the name of politics, and so does she, because, in the same meaning, she has to confirm what she said, what she's going to do, Well, gosh, I lied.
We have an arrival.
Well, hello.
Introduce yourself, sir.
I am Victor Entropy. Just kidding.
And this is Sudan's life.
And this is Sudan's life.
Welcome to House Bludstone.
What's up, guys? Hi, how you doing?
This is just like Mr. Rod right now.
Yeah, this is Mr. Parker's neighborhood, Wheeler's World, right here on Wheeler Street.
Absolutely nothing about that, but, well, gosh, we still don't know what we didn't know before, and we're twice as confused as we were when we started out.
Yeah, and also another thing, I think these hearings are taking a lot of attention away from the fact that nobody knows what Thomas's views are on almost all the subjects.
So, one thing that I think is really important is the FBI has been digging up the information. This happened 10 years ago, and we've had, right now, going on, 12 years of Republicans in office. If anything, this is a last-ditch attempt by the Democrats to have some control over who the Republicans put in office. Because as it stands now, more than likely, Bush is going to be in for another term. And it'll take at least 10 years for the Democrats to rearrange the Supreme Court. As it stands now, Reagan got to choose in both of his terms who was going to be replaced. And now Bush is making this choice.
It was Reagan Jr.
Yes, essentially. But why would 40-year legacy of pretty much fascism decide to all of a sudden turncoat and go against their own kind.
Well, cosmetically,
Sarah,
that's it, just an
were you
appearance.
going to say something?
Yes, I was going to say something, actually. I was going to say, who the hell could you choose to replace Thurgood Marshall? And why
Well,
would
no doubt,
anybody
I think-
choose somebody who the NAACP does not even back?
The Republicans are in control, as they have been for quite some time. It's been working up to this. And what we have right now is Bush wants someone in office who he feels comfortable with, who will back his positions. If Thomas spoke definitely for or against on any of the major issues, he's been back and forth on the abortion issue. He has not made himself clear whether he's pro-choice or not. He has dogged that issue, and that's a real major issue, especially for a member of the Supreme Court. The Republicans want someone in office who will back them.
Hi, we're back. And Sudan has some things that get his back up, so to speak, and one of them he would like to tell you about right now.
Hello, it is I, Sudan.
And this is your life.
Yeah. One thing locally that I've noticed that a lot of people have complained about is, in Clifton, the housing is really high. Certain buildings which I shall not name still have lead pipes. There's a lot of substandard housing that landlords are charging anywhere from $250 to $300 a month for. I was living in a place that should have been condemned. It hasn't been condemned yet. I'm talking one of my roommates fell through a section of the floor. I'm not going to mention any of the buildings by name because I'm afraid I'll get beat up or something by
What block was it on, Sudan?
Yeah, thanks. But the prices are overcharged. A lot of students nowadays are barely making it as it is. And a lot of these landlords don't own one or two houses. They own entire blocks. And it's damn near impossible to pay for school and cover rent. So, keeping this in mind, I think a lot of the youth in the area need to take a stand, just to voice their opinion to their parents, to friends, to faculty in any of the local schools, be it CTC, be it UC. A lot of money has been spent on fast food restaurants, a lot of money has been spent on new buildings for fashion, etc. We need cheaper housing for students, and we need better housing. Several friends of mine have complained. I'm complaining now. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else
Yeah.
to say about that?
Other thing,
Renee?
a lot of times, landlords will charge less for people who are just staying there for the summer, then they'll jack the rent back up, like $100, $150 more when fall quarter comes around, because they know that there are going to be so many students that need housing that they can go ahead and turn a $150 a month apartment into a $300 a month apartment just because there's such a demand for it, when the apartment is maybe worth $150. And I don't think that's right to take advantage of students like that, or of anyone for that matter.
Also, if you're paying $375 a month for a one-bedroom, basically efficiency that's supposed to be a security apartment, and people are just walking in and urinating on your floors, and you complain to the landlord and he doesn't do anything, you complain to the landlady and nothing's getting done, there's a problem. Check with the Housing Bureau, because a lot of landlords are doing that. They're charging students extra high prices, anywhere from $475 to $500 a month, just to live in a safer building. And they're not getting a safer building to live in.
Astro,
I-
you can always take your money to a courthouse and say, look, if you're not going to do what you promised me what you're going to do, you can take your money down to the courthouse downtown and say, hey, look, this is my rent for this month. Take it. My rent is paid. And when they do what they said they were going to do, they can have their money.
A couple of years ago, I was living over in Kentucky, in Newport, and we moved into an apartment. It was a decent rent. The building was kind of run down. About the time for our second rent payment, we found out the building had been condemned for about 6 months, and the repairs the landlord was supposed to have made weren't made. The way we found out was the guy was coming in for his third inspection after condemning the building, and he told us that nothing had been fixed, and we've been paying rent on a condemned building, basically, and that we had 90 days to get out. And when we didn't pay our next rent, knowing that the building was condemned, and we had been talking to people in the city, we were served an eviction notice. And with the eviction notice, the landlord told us what court date to show up to voice our problems. When we showed up for our court date, we were informed that he gave us the date 3 days after the actual court date. The guy's a sleazeball, okay, and he screwed us. There was nothing we could do. The police showed up to escort us out with our boxes. After we moved out, he filed some charges against us, felony charges for vandalism. Now, I don't know how vandalism's a felony, but we got a whole lot of crap because we found out the building was condemned and didn't want to pay the rent, and this guy just screwed us because he knew his way around it and we didn't. I can't say his name. Well, his first name was Harry, and it was on 18th Street in Newport. But that's all I'm going to say.
One quick thing I'd like to mention. If you are living in a building that is essentially worth being condemned, like the one I lived in, where I plugged in the blender and the plug was thrown out of the outlet, and the outlet's fat green flame